Greetings and salutations. Thanks for watching the video. And if you're one of those people that stays around all the way to the end of the video, that makes you a super special, groovy, wonderful person, and I appreciate you. This video is really just my thoughts on YouTube. I realized shortly after the beginning of the year that this was going to be the 15th year that I've posted on YouTube, and I have some things to say about it. But before we get into all of that, I want to say thank you very much to everybody who participated in the polls that I posted on my channel this week. I did it on the community page, and I got a lot of participation, and I got a lot of very thoughtful comments, and I read each one, and I thank each of you for posting them. I was not expecting that at all, and you gave me a great deal of insight into what you wanted to see in a YouTube video in 2023. So let's go ahead and get into that, and then I will save my YouTube comments toward the end, some things that I wanted to say about the platform here and my experience with it. So the first thing that I asked, make this bigger so it's easy to see on low-resolution devices. I didn't realize, I always thought this was important, but honestly I did not realize how important it was until your poll, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. The first one we want to talk about is YouTube Shorts. You can't log into YouTube these days without being presented with a whole bunch of shorts. What are they? Well, essentially it's just Google's response to TikTok. They're trying to have a short, bite-sized video format that they can do a whole bunch of videos on. They see TikTok as competition, and this is how they're dealing with it. You know, let's see if we can out-TikTok TikTok. And basically, you guys said that you're not really big fans, to the tune of 73%. That surprised me a little bit. I expected more of a 50-50 split. I thought there were people out there who really liked shorts, but at least in my audience and the people who follow my channel, that doesn't seem to be the case. So let's take a look at your comments here, a few of them. Some of you said that you liked them, but you didn't watch them all the time. Some people hated them. It's insane. It says, my issue with shorts here, and this is a great comment from Maxar Code. I like your handle there, buddy. It says, my issue with shorts is that they seem to be more geared towards people watching on their phones. And that's mainly because of the fact that they're shot basically wrong for a screen. If you're watching it on a 16:9 screen, it's vertical format, and I hate that as well. It's one of the reasons that I don't watch those kind of videos. I don't live on a phone like a lot of people do. I don't even have one with service. Okay, I do have a cell phone, and I use it for a camera, and I use it for two-factor authentication and a few other little things, but I don't carry it with me when I leave the house. I don't like cell phones. I have a problem interacting with those things because of my vision. And so therefore I'm just not a big fan of phones. But I don't hold it against people if that's your only computing device. If that's it, great, I'm not putting you down for it. It's just not something that I'm into. The other thing he says, you can't put them in favorites and you can't scroll down to get some comments. It just starts another video. Well, I haven't played with it enough to know, so thank you for that information. Somebody said here, I'll watch a short every now and then, but generally I prefer normal long-form videos. Let's see if there's anything else that jumps out here. Here's one that says they're cool, but I'm very selective about which ones I watch. I have watched a few of them myself, especially if it's from a creator that I know, but that's about it. I usually jump right out and move on to something else. Here's somebody who says that they really dislike them to a point where I use Firefox. He says it has an extension that makes them work like a regular video with no looping. I don't like them at all. There's another one. I have watched maybe 20 shorts, and about 5 were worth the 30 seconds it cost. Wow. I don't like them because their vertical aspect ratio is not good for PCs. Well, I agree with you there. Here's another one that says, I hate them so much. I watch them all the time. Well, I'm not going to comment on that, but thank you for your input on that one. So, yeah, guys, basically what I'm taking away from this is that you don't really care about shorts all that much, and so therefore that's not something that I'm going to look into doing. I also had no plans of opening up a TikTok account. I don't quite see how it relates to the kind of content that I post. I'm not saying that I will never, ever, ever in my entire life do it, but for right now, that's something that I'm not really going to worry about. So let us move on to the next poll, shall we? Let me scroll down here, and it said, how long do you think a YouTube video should be? And this was a little bit surprising for me, and then it wasn't. And I'll tell you why, because most people watching this seem to agree with me. So I gave you some choices here, 10 to 15 minutes, which seemed to be the one that chose one of those choices that was the biggest one. None of my videos are 10 to 15 minutes. My videos always run right around 20 to 30 minutes. Some of them, especially the most recent ones I've posted, have run longer than that. And it's just because I've had a lot to talk about. I have kind of shot for 20 to 30 minutes through the years, to tell you the truth, because for me, I always felt like that was a good balance, that it wasn't going to be too long, and most of what I was trying to put across, I could get into 20 or 30 minutes. And then 45 minutes to an hour, 3% of you said that that was the ideal length for a video. Well, like I said, a lot of my recent videos have ran very long, and that's what they are. But then most of you, 59% to be exact, don't care as long as it's good. And people had a lot to say about this, which I found very interesting. And most of you said that you felt like that it was all about the content. Here's one from, I'm not going to do this. First SH Aaron 3. Sorry. She said, rather, if it's good, I can go beyond a half hour, but it has to be outstanding to go beyond an hour. That's kind of the way I feel about it, honestly. And you know, a lot of the YouTube creators that I follow post videos that are about an hour, and that seems to be their target time. And I watch a lot of videos about cars. I watch a lot of videos about camping outdoors and survival techniques, and I watch a lot of videos about electronics other than Linux-related stuff and computers. And that seems to be a pretty popular time these days. But I, too, have always kind of felt that if it's over an hour, man, you got to be really good, you know? Depends on the subject matter. Why, of course. And then, of course, somebody else says, as long as it takes. Thank you very much. And I believe that as well. And here's another more in-depth thing, that a YouTube video should be the length needed to properly communicate what you're trying to. Totally agreed. So thank you to everybody who responded to that. My videos will continue to be the way they are. I think there was a period in time when YouTube creators were constantly being pummeled by people who were saying, you're talking too much, you're taking too long, as if, you know, that you had to get to some point. And the problem with that is that YouTube is not a service in which you are promised a product in a certain amount of time, okay? It's an entertainment medium. Even if I do a video that says how to create a USB stick in Linux, it may take me 20 minutes to talk about all the different ways that you can do that. If you come along and you say, well, I want to learn how to do this and I'm in a hurry and I only have 10 minutes to do it, I'm sorry if that bothers you. That is not my problem. That's your problem. I'm going to take the time that it takes for me to explain everything about that subject that I want to explain. You can always skip ahead. You can speed up playback. You can click off and watch something else. And that's always been my attitude on it. So I generally have never responded to that. But a lot of YouTube creators that I watch obviously get those same comments. And they try and do things like speed things up. And they jump cut a lot. And they're trying to just save every second. And you can see that. And that is so sad because it really hurts the product. And one of the things that I cannot stand to watch on YouTube are jump cuts. People that will not allow themselves to breathe at all, and their hands and their face move all over the screen. To me, that's extremely annoying, and I won't watch that. And there are some YouTube creators that I like their content and I respect what they say, and I think they put out a good product, but just because of the way it's produced, that there's no pause, it makes me feel like I'm out of breath. I can't watch it. So unfortunately, because of that, I have discontinued watching some other creators. And I've actually, reached out to some of them and said, hey, and this is from my experience in broadcasting for 40 years, ignore that. And we'll talk more about that coming up. So the last question that I asked here, this one surprised me. It really did. I have often said during my videos, let me make that bigger for those of you who are watching on low resolution devices. And there are people who post videos on YouTube, especially screen captures, where the text is so small. And because of the processing that YouTube does, compressing the video, even on my 4K television, I can't make out what it says if I walk up to the TV. And those videos, if you're trying to show somebody something, are completely useless. I've always thought they were, and now I know I'm right, because 59% of you said that you watch YouTube on a phone or a tablet, which is inherently a low-resolution device. The next biggest chunk, 33% of you, said that you watch on the browser on your computer. And then the smallest percentage was 7%. Only 7% of you watch on your smart TV. I consume most YouTube content on my smart TV. And there are a couple of reasons for that. First of all, I find it more comfortable than sitting in my chair at my desk looking at my computer. And the other reason is because on the smart TV, it plays ads. And I like to play ads in videos from creators that I like, because it helps me support them. A lot of you said in your comments here, and I'm not trying to single anybody out or make you feel bad or anything, that one of the reasons that you watch through your browser is because you can turn ad blocker on. And I understand why you're doing that. I have ad blockers on in my browser as well. But I also very much believe in the idea that the content that I post should be absolutely free. And the price that we're going to pay for that, you and I, is that advertising is going to be included. I believe in that model. I believe in that model more than having a Patreon account where you're putting things behind paywalls and begging people to send you money. I believe in that model more than me, myself, actually having sponsored videos where I have to shill somebody's product. I don't want to do that. Because when you add that sort of layer to things, that's when you start getting into self-censorship, because you're doing things, you won't say things in your video because you have an advertiser that you're afraid you might offend. We're going to get into that in more detail. So a lot of you kind of like where's the all of the above button? I watch everywhere. I like this one, of course. It says, through the terminal like cool kids, all the cool kids. I put an LOL on that one. And Vincent Maggard said that's a good joke. And anyway, it's very cool. A lot of people say they watch through Roku. I do. That's how my smart TV is run. I have a Roku TV. My son has a Roku TV in his room. My stepdaughter has a Roku TV in her room as well. Guess what? We have lots of Roku in this house. And we all watch YouTube on it. Let's see. Honestly, I do all three. Yeah, a lot of people of you said that. This is hard because my computer is a tablet, MS Surface. Most of the time I use it as background from my phone. I've had a lot of people tell me that they listen to my videos. My videos have never been video heavy anyway, because I just do screencasts and things like that. A lot of the times you can just listen and you don't even have to look at the screen. Mostly on the phone, less on the PC. Let's see. There's a whole bunch here. Let's see, in order of preference, this person says phone, Xbox, tablet, computer, Roku, smart TV. So you get the idea. So yeah, getting back to resolution. I have said that for years, is that if you're going to post YouTube videos, make sure that you can see what you're talking about on a phone. Okay? Please, thank you very much. And that's the last question there. And then before that was happy holidays. So let me talk a little bit about YouTube before I wrap this thing up. And by the way, thank you to everybody who responded there. Everybody who put that in there. You kind of just told me what I needed to know as going forward here, so I can produce videos that you guys are going to like, and that it's going to be convenient for you. And I appreciate that. That's why I did that. Let me go ahead and show a little bit more at a page here. Constantly changing screen resolution all the time these days. When I started on YouTube, it was very, very different. In 2008, YouTube was a lot of short clips because there was a 10-minute time limit. The video quality itself was really low, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that what people were posting were captures from old analog television cameras, camcorders, or some feed they took off of a videotape or television somewhere. Or a lot of the phones and cameras of those days had video recording, but it was really low quality, so that's what you got. I started probably watching YouTube about 2006, but it wasn't until 2008 that I started posting, because I found a community of people there that were doing videos about audio equipment. A lot of old tape recorders and turntables and amplifiers and things like that. And some of those guys were fixing them. A lot of electronics whizzes were doing those sorts of videos. Well, my original training in school was as an engineer, a radio engineer. And somewhere along the way I switched to on-air. But I still am fascinated with electronics to the point where I probably know more now than I did when I graduated school, because I have kind of self-educated myself in the last 10 years on it. So anything that has to do with recording anything, whether it's audio or film or records or tapes or videotapes, I'm in. I want to hear what you got to say. And that kind of pushed me to get into my own thing on YouTube, where I was restoring mainly cassette decks. I would buy them off eBay and bring them home and lovingly restore them and play with them for a while and then give them away or resell them. And they made YouTube videos, and that was the bulk of what I posted for a long time. Then I started posting about computers and Linux, and by about 2014, 2015, it became pretty apparent that what you guys were mostly interested in was Linux videos. My Linux videos took off, and I realized there was a lot of people out there who were really into this. Now, that doesn't mean that I am not still going to post videos about audio. I will never quit doing that. And some people say, well, why don't you open another channel for that? And it's because if I do that, nobody's going to see them. A lot of creators on YouTube have started second channels for just such a reason and ended up shutting it down simply because nobody went over to watch. People will not click through to that sort of thing. And they have a hard time finding it once you start it, unless you... Every single video that you post for like a year, you say, hey, check out my other channel, which most people don't do. So that's why I continue to do it here. And the name of the channel is Joe Collins, and it can't be changed. My channel is so old, it was a channel that came along before Google, that it's not easy to change the name. So that's why it stays what it is. At one point in time, I might have changed it to Easy Linux. YouTube has been an interesting platform, and it, especially the Linux videos here, but the audio videos as well, have allowed me to meet people from around the world. I have made some very special friends here, and I've learned a lot about cultures around the world, and I have a new appreciation of the world and the fact that we are all really alike, no matter where we come from, no matter what our religion is, no matter what our political point of view is. People are people, man, and I think that is absolutely so cool. It has opened up doors for me like the Easy Linux project would never have happened at all if it was not for YouTube. And I have been interviewed in podcasts, on regular radio and television, and newspapers around the world because of the Linux videos that have been posted here. So I am grateful beyond belief. The comments section has been both a nightmare and a blessing through the years. And there was a period of time 5 or 10 years ago when it was truly a toxic cesspool. And it was a problem. And at one point in time, I think I reacted poorly to some of the nastiness that was coming in the comments. But these days, I have come to realize that that's just part of the process. That's how this works. And fortunately, we have filters in place now that make it so that you guys very rarely see any of the really truly nasty comments that come my way. I get one every now and again, but most people don't even try because they know it won't post. A lot of those comments come from people who are just fooling around, think it's funny, they have no conscience, they don't realize that people who create YouTube videos are real human beings with feelings, and they're just trying to basically make a jerk out of themselves. Some people genuinely have problems. There are those that use the internet as a way of venting their anger. They want the world to buy truth from them, and they don't understand why everybody is not treating them a certain way, and it's very evident by what they choose to comment on. I cannot tell you how many times that I have been flat out called a liar in the comments, that I am intentionally lying or misleading people. And some of the people that have said that to me have shocked me. And I can tell you through the years that I have never posted a video where I intentionally misled anybody about anything. I also found out about comments on YouTube through the years that if you comment on comments, and probably what I'm saying now is going to generate exactly what I'm going to talk about, and that is that people will say, don't pay any attention to the trolls, and you should just ignore those comments. No matter how much you make it clear when you comment on that it's not personal for you. And it's not. It never has been, boys and girls. You guys are pixels on a screen, and I take it as such. It doesn't change my personal life. Plus, you also have to realize that I have been in broadcasting since I was 15 years old. I've been on the air for that long, and still am, and do a daily radio show these days. And I'll put a link to the radio station that I do the show for. No, it's a standard radio show. No, it's not available on demand. When I say no, it's a standard radio show, people somehow expect it to be like a podcast that they can download. No, this is terrestrial radio, which goes out over the air, and then it's gone. And by the way, if I point you to that, that does not mean that I'm getting any extra money out of it. It's just my other job. I will put the link in the description. Anyway, the point is that through my years in radio and television, I've kind of learned that there's crazy people out there and how to deal with them. And so therefore, I don't know, I don't take this personally. There's more that I could say on that topic, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it alone. I am going to say that my online accounts, because of things that have happened, are extremely secure these days. And I'm very careful about what information that I will share in a YouTube video because of things that have happened in the past. And that's just the way it is. Talking about the future of YouTube, I'm concerned about it. One of the things that has happened to YouTube, especially in the last 5 years, is a great deal of censorship that Google does on videos, and they are scanning for what you say, and when you monetize a video, they want to know if you've talked about anything anywhere that could be slightly construed as controversial. They scan your videos. There are all of these hoops that you have to go through. There's the copyright police out there. That's been a problem at least for the last 10 years, maybe even more. The self-censorship is more alarming than the copyright because it's easy to produce a video without copyrighted material. It's hard to produce a video about something that you're passionate about without skirting the censorship and the community rules here that are imposed mainly by advertising. See, this video itself, just simply because I mentioned that, may be demonetized in some way, shape, or form. And that's a sad state of being, especially when you have a group of people out here who are trying to make a living out of producing this content and rely on this platform. Google has never gone to bat for its creators. Never, ever, not once, when it came to the onslaught from the music industry about every little snippet of music that you could possibly include in a video and putting strikes on people's channels for breaking rules and all this other stuff. And as far as dealing with big advertising as well, they have never stood up for the creator. They have never stood up for freedom of speech. They have never stood up for anything. It's all about money to them, and that's all Google is about. Google is about providing free services that you get hooked into that they can use to extract information from you to send advertising to you. That's what Google is all about. They are not broadcasters, never have been, and don't even understand it. And I guess that's about as much as I have to say about that. But fortunately, my videos, because of the nature of the content that I post, have never really caused a big problem with that. My videos are clean, and you can play them with your kids around. They're done like that on purpose. I want them to be for general consumption, for everyone. I don't want to alienate people. That does not mean that I'm going to be somebody who's a prude and, not say anything. Come on, this is reality. But at the same time, I do try and monitor that. Some channels don't. And some channels do some very funny, entertaining stuff that way. But it's not for small children. And that's the nature of the beast. And that's what media is about, is finding an audience who appreciates what you do, regardless of what it is. And as long as it's not hurting anybody, and I mean like some videos do, if they're filled with hate speech or bullying or anything like that, that's a different story altogether. Those sort of things do need to be policed. But somebody who's posting a video about a train and they're afraid to call a radar device what it's ordinarily called because of the word G-U-N, and they don't want to say that, boy, that's pushing it to a new edge now, isn't it? And that's about where I'm going to leave this. As usual, I like your comments. I love your suggestions. I love to hear from you. Thank you very much for the support. I'm trying to get more content up here. I don't know what the next video is going to be about. It may be a video about a turntable, or it might be something to do with Linux. We shall see. Thank you for watching, boys and girls. Maybe we'll be doing this for another 15 years, huh?